Hi there, my name is Lo. Welcome to my channel where I discuss everything between Hermes and grocery bags. In this video I want to discuss with you the Chloé Marcie bag in a medium size. You might wonder why I have this dust bag lying on its side. Well, I don't know what happened, but I don't really quite manage to fit this bag anymore into its dust bag the normal way, so there you have it. But anyway, let's get it out of its dust bag and get started with this video. There she is in a beautiful tan color that you might know from Chloé. I think the Marcie bag has been around for, I guess, about 10 years. I think it came out in 2012 and it is pretty much a Chloé staple by now. I know there's a lot of people that don't like this bag. There's a lot of people that say it is outdated, but this was the first luxury or designer bag that I got. It was not the first one that I fell in love with, to be honest, but the shape and the handles and everything really drew my attention, and I'm very glad to have it in my collection, although I don't reach for it all that much, but I'll tell you a little bit about why later on in the video. So let's talk about dimensions while I show you the bag. It's, by the way, in a beautiful grained calfskin. The width of this bag is 32 centimeters or 12.6 inches. The height is 27 centimeters or 10.6 inches, and the width is 12 centimeters or 4.7 inches, and that's measured at the broadest part of the bag because, as you can see, this bag has a very peculiar size and it also tapers in at the top of the bag. It closes with this somewhat chunky zipper which runs very nicely and smoothly. It is a bag that, well, as you can already see, comes with a shoulder strap, but also has these two braided top handles. I've just zoomed out a little bit so you can see the top handle detailing on this bag. On the front there's this exterior pocket, which, if you know, the Chloé Marcie is very well known, so you can open up this flap and you have a very wide exterior pocket that's lined with fabric on the inside, and this is one that will easily hold a phone or a card holder or something like that, as you can see here. So this is a nice compartment to use. For things that you want to have handy, it closes very simply by just pulling this leather strap through the ring again. But if you don't want that, if you really want to have things handy and accessible, you don't necessarily have to close this. The bottom of this bag doesn't have any feet. Here you have the one side, no pocket on the back of this bag, and here you have the other side. The weight of this bag, by the way, is a little over a kilo. It's 1,050 grams, which is 2.3 pounds. So this is not a very light bag, but on the other hand, it's also not a very small bag. So that's perhaps not all that surprising. It has this very nice hardware detailing, by the way, on the front, and just the way that this bag is made. It's really beautifully constructed. Also, the branding is quite subtle. It just says Chloé here on the front, and that's just embossed in the leather. So if you see this bag, you will recognize it's a Chloé bag just by the way that it looks and not by the massive branding that it has. Moving into the inside, a nice leather zipper pull, by the way, also piped. Here on the bottom of the bag you see this horribly constructed bag organizer that I made. Let's rip that out for a second. So the inside of the bag is lined with fabric. You have this tab on the inside that says Chloé, made in Italy, and you have this interior pocket with a very decent zipper pull, with a very large internal pocket. Here I have the care booklets, and it also seems that there's some sort of authentication label that indeed has a code imprinted on there. The zipper of this bag is connected here to the inside of the bag, so this is something that you can get loose. Yes, okay. It takes a bit of effort, but you can open up the zipper, and if you want, you can also pull the zipper out of the bag, but I'm not really sure why you want to do that. I know that with the older versions of the Chloé Marcie, there were some issues with the zipper, because it basically had a zipper that if you opened it up completely, it would just open up, like with the zipper you have on a jacket, for example. I have no idea why they ever put that on there. I'm not sure why you would want that on your bag, but anyway, they have altered the zipper, and now it cannot really get loose. But I do have to say that if you reach the ending of the bag like this, it's going to get stuck and it will not be easy to get closed again. So I try not to completely open the zipper and then just put the remaining part of the zipper or the fabric of the zipper or whatever, put that in the bag so that you don't see it. But apart from that, the zipper runs very smoothly on this bag. Very big open space. The reason that I crafted this pretty awful bag organizer for this bag is, on the one hand, because it has this super light interior and I know sooner or later I'm going to stain it, but the other reason, and really don't mind how bad this looks, is that this is a very saggy type of bag. As you can already see, it's sort of collapsing in on its own weight, which why I mainly wanted to have a base shaper in this bag, and I put some plastic in the bottom here and covered it up with felt. So this is really mostly to try and protect the base and making sure that it doesn't sag in on itself. So whenever I store this, have the base shaper in it and then fill it up with tissue paper so that hopefully it kind of maintains its shape. I was kind of annoyed, by the way, that there are bag organizers for pretty much every bag, but I've been finding it so hard to find a bag organizer or a base shaper for this bag. That's why I attempted to make one myself, but yeah, I was not super successful at it because it has this very sort of vase-like shape. I'm crafty, but I'm not per se very skillful, so making the base shaper, that was still okay because that was still like a straight line, or at least also not so much of a straight line because this bag tapers in at the side, so up until here it was kind of okay for me to make that base shaper, but I was just struggling to create a bag organizer for this, and I was also struggling to find one online. So perhaps if anybody knows where to find a good bag organizer for this one that will also help you hold the shape of the bag, I'm very interested to hear. But yeah, this is a bag. It has gorgeous leather, it has thick leather, but this is a bag that will just get saggy over time. It's also kind of the beauty of it, but yeah, I'm not ready to let it sag in just quite yet. Let's talk about the strap on this bag for a little bit. So as you have already seen, this bag has a top handle. The length of this handle is apparently 45 centimeters or 17.7 inches. Let me just measure what the drop length is approximately. So between the top of the handle and the back, yeah, guess approximately 15 centimeters. That is approximately 6 inches. So I've noticed that you can wear this over the shoulder. I think especially if you're like petite and you don't have a thick jacket on. This is something I can wear over the shoulder in case of emergency, but for me this is mostly a top handle, crook of the arm kind of bag. It also comes with this crossbody strap. This is a strap that doesn't have any clasp. It has this mechanism where you fold the leather around the D-rings and then lock it in place on this little piece of metal. It does have an additional hole here, so you can make this a bit longer, but for me already on the shorter setting it's quite nice to wear as a crossbody bag. The length of this strap is 110 centimeters on the shortest setting and 128 centimeters on the longest setting. That is 43.3 inches on the shortest and 50 inches on the longest setting. And even though there's not a clasp involved here, the leather is so smooth and the holes are relatively big opposed to the metal rod thingy over here. That is not all that hard to take the strap on and off. The only thing that surprises me a bit is that this is a fairly thin leather strap, and I would have imagined with this size of bag, and especially because the top handles are really bulky, that they might have also gone with a strap that's at least a little bit thicker. I mean, this bag is already pretty heavy by itself, let alone standing if you put stuff in there. So I tend not to use it with this crossbody strap. I had actually not used it for so long that I had forgotten that there weren't even no clasp on this strap. So when I took it out of the bag, like, what is this? But yeah, I realized that this is the construction for attaching the strap to the bag. Let's briefly go through what fits in this bag. This is a big bag, so yeah, I'm just gonna say up front that everything here is going to fit. This bag is not big enough to fit a laptop, unfortunately. But an iPad will fit in here. Let's just put in the regular stuff. So here we have the A5 notebook that fits both like this vertically and horizontally. Full-size wallet, easy. Full-size water bottle, easy. That kind of fills up the base, so that's approximately how much stuff you can put next to each other. Sunglasses, phone, pouch or pencil case if you have additional bits and bobs to carry. So this kind of fills up the bag, but I also haven't organized it very neatly. I think if I want to put in like a little umbrella, that would still easily fit. And that is all perfectly fine. It does become quite heavy, as I was already expecting, because yeah, it's a heavy bag and I've filled it up. But all of this content does nothing to distort the bag. If anything, it only kind of helps it to shape out and not sag all that much. This is a bag with quite a lot of capacity. However, that is also one of the reasons that I don't really gravitate towards this bag, because all of the stuff that I usually put in bags to show people how much stuff will fit in a bag, it's not the stuff that I carry. So I don't bring a notebook and I don't bring the full-size wallet. And if you take all of that stuff out of the bag, then you're actually left with a lot of capacity that you are not going to fill. And for some reason, I don't really like carrying bags that have all of this leftover capacity. I mean, there's some situation where I might want to carry like a scarf or something like that, but these are fairly seldom. And when I take this bag to work, for example, I already feel like, okay, I'm carrying a big bag, and then I also still have to carry a bag for my laptop. And because my laptop, it's not super big, but laptops are big, so you're carrying this one bulky bag on the one side, and then also still a bag that's fairly big, or a laptop size enough big. So it all feels then that I'm carrying a lot of big bags, if that makes sense. So I just don't really have a lot of situations where I feel this bag is of adequate capacity for what I am doing or what I want to do. After all of this story time, let's move on briefly to the pros and cons. So pros, very gorgeous grained leather. I think this is a beautiful bag, even though it's not loved very much, or at least not at this point in time, because this bag has been around for 10 years, and now with the fast fashion cycles, you are seeing that a lot of bags already from 2010 are starting to come back. So I think it might only be a matter of time before this Chloé bag becomes popular again. We'll see. But it's really by now Chloé Classic or Staple. They have this bag and they bring it out every year. So you have them in different colors. You have them, I think, one size up and one size down. So this is the medium. There's also a satchel version of this bag in a mini and I think also a medium size. So there's plenty to choose from. I think pretty much all of them come in this grained leather. And yeah, that is a great material. It is a versatile bag that you can wear pretty much in every way possible. The only thing I would say it's perhaps not perfect as a shoulder bag, because these top handles are just a bit too short and this strap is just a bit too long. And this bag holds a ton, so if you are a person that carries a ton where you go, but not a laptop because that will not fit, but if you carry a ton wherever you go, then this might be a very nice bag to add to your collection. Then the cons, I think the thing that is disappointing about this bag is this strap. I am really surprised by how flimsy it is for this size and weight of bag. Also bringing me to the second point, or the second con, and that is just the sheer weight of this bag. It is indeed quite heavy. A pro of this bag is that these top handles will fold all the way down. So if you're wearing it as a crossbody, that is nice. And honestly, it doesn't even look all that bad. But personally, I just don't like the look of top handles being folded down across a bag. I'm sorry, I cannot take it. So to some extent, I would have liked the top handles to be removable. I have no idea how they would be doing that. But I think this bag could look so much nicer. Almost perhaps more of like a postman style of bag. I'm not really sure what you call that, but I think this bag would look much cooler as a crossbody bag if there were no top handles attached to it at all. I also don't really like carrying it as a shoulder bag or as a crossbody bag, because yeah, this feels like sort of the ultimate top handle bag with these beautiful top handles. I mean, I think these are perhaps the most beautiful top handles that I have in my collection, next to the braided top handle of the Mulberry Alexa bag. So when I take this bag out, I want to carry it as a top handle and not have this flimsy strap attached to it, or having to put that in the bag and then attach it to the bag later if I cannot bear to wear it as a top handle anymore. So that's made it somewhat inconvenient for me. It's nice that this bag has the external pocket. It is also quite easily accessible. The only thing is that this is a very annoying mechanism to sort of open and close. shut, especially if you're wearing this as a top handle, then you would have to sort of try to maneuver with one hand and get this thing in while you're holding the bag with your other hand. So I usually don't really use this exterior pocket on the front, also because I'm somebody who likes to keep their stuff together in the main compartment. But even if I would be doing that, I'm not really sure that I would actually just put a phone in there and then finick and fiddle to get these straps back in place. I'm sorry if I'm making up English words, by the way. I'm not a native speaker, and although I'm fairly good at English, sometimes I still don't really know what I'm doing, and I try to make these Dutch words English, but okay, as long as you can follow along, that is fine. And another con is that this bag is not all that structured in that sense. So I especially see with the older Chloé Marcie bags that go on the pre-loved market, for example, that they've really started to sag, and it's kind of sad to see. I know, or I try to accept bags the way that they are sort of made and the way that they are meant by the designer, but this is a gorgeous bag, and I do feel that sometimes they just start sagging so much that they kind of become this beautiful mess, which is perhaps nice if you want to keep it for the rest of your life and just wear it out completely, because with this type of leather I do feel that it's going to last very, very long, but it's just not going to wear very nicely over time in that sense. And then also if you want to resell it at some point in time, it's just not going to look as good. So that's why I do try to take care to stuff this bag to the brim when I'm not using it, and use this base shaper, for example, to try and maintain a little bit of shape, because there's just a lot of denting going on already over here, and you also see it especially already at the back, so that is just a bit unfortunate. So would I recommend this bag? I think personally that if this bag were to leave my collection, I think I would actually look into this bag again, but I would probably opt for a different size and for a different color. So perhaps the small of this version, or perhaps even the large, if that would fit a laptop, because then I would have a pretty cool work bag. But this particular size is just too much in between for me, and it's not really working all that well. If I objectively look at this bag, I think the color is beautiful. This is a very beautiful tan color. Chloé does that very well. But I just am not all that much attracted to brown bags. Most of the bags that I have in my collection are black. There are some exceptions where they're either gray or red or pink. You would think that brown or tan is a neutral that pretty much goes with everything, and for some reason I still don't really gravitate towards these bags. Should have probably gotten it in a different color, so perhaps in the black, but I thought that the detailing wouldn't be all that apparent on the black bag, and I thought the tan was beautiful at the time, so that's why I got it. Apart from that, I would say, like with so many bags, if you love it, I think this is a Chloé classic, and in that sense it's a nice one to have in your collection. I don't think, at least in Chloé production terms, it's going anywhere anytime soon. It might be coming back in style again, or perhaps in a couple of years, we'll have to see. This is a bag that you can pick up with a discount, usually end of season, but yeah, you have to be on the lookout for that, because they don't really throw around discounts with this bag. But to me it's still beautiful. It's still one of my first loves when it comes to designer bags, so in that sense it is still one that I would love to have in my collection as a style on its own. But I'm finding that I have to motivate myself to grab this bag, and thus far it hasn't been working out for me perfectly. That's just my personal stance on it. If this is the capacity or the color for you, then all of this reasoning is not very valid, obviously. That is it for this video. Hope you found it useful and or interesting and or enjoyable. If you have any questions about this bag, feel free to drop them down below in the comments and I'll get back to you. Remember, for now, there's a styling, a situation, and a taste for everything, so don't judge. Wear whatever the bag you like. Until next time, or as we would say in Dutch, doei!